Hey again. Settle back under your blanket. Let your eyelids get a little heavier, because we're drifting deeper into Rome's story now, into the soft, slow-motion collapse of the Roman Republic. You know, that part of history where ambitious men treat politics like a competitive sport, and everyone else just tries not to get trampled. We left off with Rome becoming a messy, overextended superpower. Lots of money, lots of slaves, lots of politicians who believed they were the main character in every room. So naturally, things begin to unravel. Let's float gently into the calm disaster. The age of generals with too much ego. By the 1st century BCE, Rome has a new political hobby, producing powerful generals who think they can fix the republic by grabbing absolute power, which, historically speaking, never works. The first big example is Gaius Marius, a soldier's soldier who reforms the army, wins some wars, becomes immensely popular, and then refuses to leave politics because stepping down would be way too reasonable. Then comes Lucius Cornelius Sulla, a man with a smile as charming as a tax bodit. Sulla decides he dislikes Marius so much that he marches an army into Rome itself. Yes, into the city. Weapons out. Democracy who? It's Rome's first full-on military coup, and also the moment everyone realizes, oh, so this is allowed now. Sulla becomes dictator, legally, but also aggressively, and spends his time killing political enemies, reorganizing laws, and hosting the ancient Roman equivalent of a very unpleasant corporate restructuring. When Sulla finally retires to drink wine and complain about people, he leaves behind a republic that is still standing, but wobbling like a toddler learning to walk. And into this fragile world strolls a man with a famously big ego and famously dramatic life. Yep, we're talking about Julius Caesar, the republic's most charismatic problem. Caesar grows up from a minor aristocratic family, technically noble but not rich. He compensates by being extremely charming, extremely ambitious, and extremely good at pretending he's humble. He's fashionable, he's social, he owes everyone money, he wins people over with grand gestures and a political strategy that basically amounts to say yes to everything, even if impossible. Rome loves him, or at least the poor people do. The Senate, they find him exhausting. Still, Caesar climbs the political ladder at an impressive speed. He becomes a lawyer, then a military officer, then a priest, then a governor, then a near celebrity in Rome. He's like the overachieving kid in school who joins every club and still tops every exam. But the real turning point comes when he teams up with two other powerful men. Pompey the Great, Rome's best general. Crassus, the richest man in Rome, with enough money to buy several small countries. Together they form the first triumvirate, which basically means, we're running the republic because we said so. The Senate can't stop them. Rome sighs heavily, and life goes on. Caesar goes to Gaul and becomes a celebrity. In 58 BCE, Caesar is given the governorship of Gaul, roughly modern France. This turns out to be the best career move of his life. Gaul is wild, large, and full of tribes who do not care about Rome. He decides to fix that by conquering everything. For 8 years, he fights, negotiates, bribes, and occasionally invents war just to keep himself busy. He writes commentaries on these campaigns, basically self-promotional memoirs, where he describes himself as the calm genius hero of every battle. These writings become so popular that people in Rome who can't stand him start saying things like, well, at least he's impressive. By the end of the Gallic Wars, Caesar has a massive army loyal to him personally, tons of money, unmatched popularity, and zero intention of giving any of it up. And remember Rome's rule from earlier. No one man should have too much power. Well, Caesar definitely missed that memo. The Rubicon moment, when oops becomes a civil war. When Caesar's term in Gaul ends, the Senate, heavily influenced by Pompey, orders him to return to Rome without his army, which is basically like telling a lion to show up without its teeth. Caesar knows that if he goes back unarmed, he'll be arrested or worse. So he does something dramatic in the calmest way possible. He takes his legion, walks south, arrives at the Rubicon River, and crosses it. This is illegal. Very illegal. Like, you're starting a civil war illegal. Caesar reportedly says, the die is cast, which is ancient Roman for, well, too late now. Pompey flees Rome. Senators panic. Caesar marches in and takes control with surprising ease. It's all very casual for a coup. Thus begins Caesar's civil war, a series of battles where Caesar chases Pompey around the Mediterranean like a man who refuses to lose an argument. Eventually, Pompey is assassinated in Egypt by officials who think Caesar will be impressed. He is not impressed. He mutters something like, not good, and then casually starts influencing Egyptian politics like it's a side quest. And that's when he meets someone who matches his energy. Caesar and Cleopatra, a very dramatic power couple. Cleopatra VII, the Queen of Egypt, multilingual genius, political mastermind, and survivor of sibling-on-sibling royal chaos. She meets Caesar, he meets her. They both see opportunity written across each other's foreheads. They become allies, then lovers, then co-parents. Caesar helps Cleopatra regain her throne, which she technically never really lost, but her brother tried to pretend she did. Ancient Egypt had so much family drama, it could have been its own reality show. Cleopatra, brilliant as always, strengthens her rule. Caesar returns to Rome with new confidence, new political momentum, and a royal girlfriend who is far too smart to underestimate. Back in Rome, Caesar becomes dictator. Temporarily at first. Then he becomes dictator again. Then for 10 years. Then eventually for life. The Senate sees red flags everywhere. The Ides of March, a very predictable assassination. By 44 BCE, Caesar is at the peak of power. He's won every war. He's taken every office. He's showing signs of wanting to be king, something Romans hate more than taxes. A group of senators decide that if Caesar won't step aside, they'll give him a permanent retirement plan. On the Ides of March, March 15th, Caesar walks into a Senate meeting. He's surrounded. He's stabbed multiple times, even by Brutus, his protege. It's messy, unfortunate, and historically inevitable. Caesar falls at the foot of a statue. Rome holds its breath. The senators believe they saved the Republic. They did not. They basically broke the final safety valve holding it together. After Caesar, a slow slide toward empire. The Senate expects applause. What they get is chaos. The people mourn Caesar. Riots break out. Soldiers become restless. And into this vacuum step two new ambitious men, Mark Antony, Caesar's loyal friend, and Octavian, Caesar's teenage adopted heir. Octavian is 18, quiet, thin, sickly. Looks like he'd lose an arm wrestling match to a houseplant. But he has one huge advantage. He's patient, very patient, and quietly brilliant.